And a very happy Wednesday to you at 12:08 in the West on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wings in Culver City.
John, this weekend there is going to be a major sporting event in Alameda County as a long-anticipated international soccer match between Mexico and Japan is coming to the Oakland Coliseum. What could possibly go wrong?
In Oakland, a much-anticipated match between the national soccer teams of Mexico and Japan is this weekend.
But days before this face-off at the Oakland Coliseum, the Mexico national team's training equipment was stolen.
But, you know, if you were smart enough to understand statistics, that never happened.
It's a lot of crime now.
Maybe that's why all the professional sports teams moved out.
Because of the crime?
Yeah, I mean, what would it cost the Denver Broncos to replace all their helmets if they got stolen?
There was a while where there were advisories for the local news channels to not film reports in Oakland because the news vans were getting robbed.
Well, the news vans had to hire armed security to watch the van and the equipment while they would do their live shots. But according to Gavin, there's no crime. 800-222-5222 is telephone number 1-800-222-5222. Well, on the subject of Oakland's dysfunction, many of you ask all the time. You do a lot of crime blotter stories from Oakland. You spend a lot of time talking about corrupt politicians like, oh, I don't know, you know who, Shang Tao.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What is the matter with the city of Oakland? Why is it that the city of Oakland just doesn't function?
Well, it turns out, according to an incredible report by ABC7's Lyanne Melendez, Shang was right all along.
The bureaucracy is real.
Well, you know what they say about broken clocks.
The charter in Oakland is so screwed up, nobody is actually accountable for anything.
And they all pat themselves on the back and thank each other for their leadership.
For a deep dive into why Oakland severely needs charter reform, here is ABC7 and their incredible Building a Better Bay Area reporter, Lyanne Melendez.
The majority of Oakland residents are not happy with how their city is functioning.
You don't say.
Gee, I wonder why.
An Oakland Chamber of Commerce survey found 75% say the city is on the wrong track.
And yet they voted for Barbara Lee.
Go figure.
They voted for someone with the same ideas as Shang, but way less interesting.
Quite frankly.
But she hates Trump, so why not?
That's right. I like that. That was amazing.
I figure I better just play that now because someone's going to email asking for it.
Some blame the city charter, which they say is dysfunctional and does not hold Oakland leaders accountable. ABC 7 News Building a Better Bay Area reporter Lyanne Melendez here now with a look at the efforts to try to fix things. And this is kind of a recurring theme in the city of Oakland.
Yeah, it is. And when you mention the city charter or reforming it, people run for the hills.
If you were to do a movie about the city of Oakland, it wouldn't be like Chinatown or anything like that. It would be a slapstick comedy.
They don't want to talk about it, but it's important. Now, here's a question for the people of Oakland. Who runs your city? If you guess the mayor or city council, not so much.
You know, the people that voters can fire.
No, and just wait till you find out who's responsible for all this.
The power to get nearly anything done in Oakland comes from one person, the city administrator. Well, sort of.
Sort of, kinda.
Have you ever wondered why every Shang Tao press conference she would always shout out City Administrator Justin Johnson? It's because apparently he had more power than she did, and the only power she had was to fire him.
And he was the one that forgot to turn in the paperwork on time to get the grant money from the state.
That's correct. For the Organized Retail Theft Task Force.
If you are confused, so were we.
I think a lot of confusion is going on right now in Oakland.
That's why we went searching for the answer. Oakland has problems.
I think it's sweeps week.
And that statement, by the way, is the biggest understatement of the year.
Oakland has problems.
Homelessness.
You know what, Lyanne? You do such a great job. I love all your reporting. You're making the wall. Lyanne, Oakland has problems.
Congratulations.
Oakland has problems.
Homelessness. Dumping.
Companies leaving the city.
The car break-ins.
The potholes. Nothing's getting fixed.
And a budget crisis.
Oakland's...
Is there anything right going on in Oakland?
Nope. They didn't even mention the sports teams leaving.
Oakland's city government is dysfunctional. And it's by design.
Wait, what?
She does the best work in the entire Bay Area of all the TV channels.
Henry Lee's right up there with her, but you're right. She is the gold standard.
And Dan Noyes, who's the investigative reporter for ABC7, he's right there too. But boy, is she consistent. Like every time you see a piece on ABC7's YouTube and it's like 6 or 7 minutes long, you know it's another Lyanne Melendez gem.
By design? Who did that?
This is owning a piece of the American dream right here in the city of Oakland.
Recognize that voice?
That is not Bob Odenkirk. That is Jerry Brown.
He does sound a little like Bob Odenkirk.
I've thought that for the longest time.
This is owning a piece of the American dream right here in the city of Oakland, and I'm really proud to be a part of it.
Before taking office, former Oakland Mayor Jerry Brown supported Measure X, which basically took some powers away from the city council and shifted them to the city administrator.
All the power in the city is not at the hands of the elected officials, it's at the hands of the appointed city administrator.
Let that sink in. What do you think was the motivation to take all of the power away from the electeds and give it to someone who was an appointed?
Voters passed it in 1998. Through Measure X, the city administrator now had one and only one boss, Jerry Brown. Things got done at City Hall. But today, that has changed, and many people in Oakland have come to realize that this model of government, which is included in the city's charter, is not working to solve the problems in Oakland.
You don't say. What gave it away?
You see, Jerry Brown thought that that would strengthen his hand of cards. If he could appoint someone and they screwed up, he didn't have to assume the blame. And the individual worked for him, so he would do Jerry Brown's bidding. Jerry wanted a strong mayor, and he thought that this would give him the power to do that.
Oakland is less responsive compared to other California cities.
Stephen Falk, a former city administrator himself, is behind the efforts to reform Oakland's charter.
So here's where I interrupt things to give you a quick definition of a charter.
I'm so glad she's doing this.
Let's hear it.
A city's charter is kind of like its constitution, a social contract of sorts that is adopted by the people it governs.
That's you. And Oakland voters are...
Oakland, you got no one to blame but yourselves.
Time and time and time again, I say this because it's true. The voters are the problem. If you want different results, you have to start changing how you vote.
And when Measure X was passed in 1998, how many Oaklanders even understood what that was about?
Like 0%.
And Oakland voters are responsible for what's in the charter, 132 pages long. And every time you vote, things get added to the charter just like Measure X did. So who has the power in Oakland? Let's start with the 8 city council members. Say residents of one neighborhood are fed up with all this illegal dumping. The most obvious thing to do is to contact their city council member. Except that another amendment passed in 2014 says that council member is not allowed to contact anyone at the Department of Public Works to help solve the problem.
What?
Okay, part of this is because Jerry Brown didn't trust any of them, but he didn't want to directly accuse them of corruption, so he just stripped them of their power. He did the same thing with the Board of Equalization, the board that used to resolve tax disputes. It was a board that was made up of 4 elected members and the state controller. And frequently, there were things that went on there that were regarded by Jerry Brown and others as being shady. But instead of just saying, hey, you are shady and it's time for you to be replaced by someone else, he just stripped them of their power. Because in a one-party state, you never want to directly confront one another. You just have to be passive-aggressive and do things like this.
That would be called favoritism.
So thanks to what Oakland decided in 2014, a member of the city council cannot call anybody to pick up all the illegally dumped trash.
Great.
Take council member Noel Gallo.
Oh, you knew he was going to be in this piece.
He is always the one that they go to.
And he's always got that orange vest on.
Who has a huge illegal dumping problem in his district. Why don't you go to the head of the Department of Public Works?
I communicate with them on a regular basis, respectfully, but I also have to be very careful that I can't tell you what to do and how to do it, because then I get accused of micromanaging.
He's the elected, and he lives in fear of the bureaucrats.
This is nothing but nonsensical finger-pointing. Somebody should just pick up the trash. I don't care whose responsibility it is to direct someone to pick up the trash. Pick up the trash, because we've seen what happens if you don't pick up the trash. You lose the Warriors, you lose the Raiders, and you lose the Oakland A's.
Oakland Bees!
You do have those.
The only person who can order the Department of Public Works to address the illegal dumping in Gallo's district is the city administrator. That's if the city administrator considers it a priority.
And obviously, the current city administrator does not.
Nope, because the voters can't fire him.
And so the illegal dumping issue may not go away. That's why council member Gallo has his own cleaning team comprised of 4 men, picking up what people dump illegally. Council members are allowed.
And isn't he like severely outnumbered?
Oh, he is. He's on the losing end of every vote. They have an entire city department that's meant to do things like that, but since they can't legally ask them to do it, he's got to have 4 people on his staff to do that.
In fact, I have a drop from earlier this year of Noel Gallo.
But every day, you can see that we pick up 8 truckloads of illegal dumping.
A day?
A day.
That's just in his district, and that is with his staffers. Not Public Works, not sanitation. His assistants have to pick up all the trash because it's the only people that he can boss around.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Ryan writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Guys, Oakland does have a movie, Moneyball. Say it, Shang.
And we still got our Oakland A's, baby.
No, you don't.
You know who was depicted in Moneyball?
Who's that?
Who was then a coach at the Oakland Coliseum for the Oakland A's was Ron Washington, who's now the manager of the Angels.
How's that going?
He did better with the Moneyball. He's had some health challenges this year, too. He had a surgery. All right. If you'd like to listen to yesterday's show, if you missed it, well, you were out running errands, or maybe you were on vacation, you were exercising, whatever it was that you were doing the day after a holiday, Randy, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You could download all the episodes. You could do a Google on the YouTube. You could get the KABC app. You could get the KSFO app. We're on Saturdays on KMJ in Fresno. You can get the KMJ Now app. Get all the apps. You got room on your phone. You don't even want to know how many apps I have on my phone. It's gotten to the point where it's ridiculous, and I can't find any of them, and I have to search for them. But anyway, download our podcast, please.
I know people who are very good about organizing their apps, where they have all the banking in one folder, all the food in another folder, all the news in another folder. I just have everything scattered all over the place.
I have 9 pages of apps on my phone.
Oh, my God.
I don't even know what half of them are.
All right, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Well, let's do that right now. 790 KABC welcomes Disney's Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas live in concert at the Hollywood Bowl. Oh, what a good time is that. It's going to be on October 25th. Tickets on sale this Friday at Ticketmaster.com. But right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-790-5222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by Live Nation. Good luck dialing.
I think the Haunted Mansion over at Disneyland is already done up like A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, they do it in like late August now.
I think so. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Well, as we were shouting out some of the great Bay Area reporters, Cindy writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Guys, don't forget Lynn. KPIX's Lynn is my personal Bay Area fave. He's got a way with inflection. Always gets sent to Oakland, and so we know very well.
Well, I hope he has good life insurance.
But it's funny. Whenever it's a Lynn story, when he starts, it always sounds like it's the beginning of a documentary in a war-torn country, except it's just Oakland.
It's wild, wild west out here.
All right. Well, let's get back to the Lyanne Melendez piece on why it is that Oakland is so dysfunctional.
When we last left you, it turns out that even if you contact your member of the city council about a whole bunch of illegal dumping, someone like Noel Gallo cannot call Public Works or Sanitation to do anything about it. He has to ask the city administrator, and the city administrator has to be able to decide if that is a priority. So Noel Gallo has his own staffers, the ones who are supposed to assist him with legislative and local issues, pick up the trash. How much trash a day, you ask?
But every day, you can see that we pick up 8 truckloads of illegal dumping.
A day?
A day.
I wonder what that guy's going to do when he turns out of office.
Might be time to move.
That's what I'm thinking.
Council members are allowed to employ up to 7 staff members. So rather than work in the office solving other problems, half of his staff is picking up garbage because the problem is so severe.
Now, I would argue, based on how other city councils operate, like the Los Angeles City Council, a lot of those city council staffers would be better off picking up garbage than whatever the hell they actually get paid to do.
Well, at least that's useful.
What about the mayor? Barbara Lee is not allowed to hire or fire any department heads.
What?
Well, there's a big exception, and this is where this makes no sense.
Barbara Lee is not allowed to hire or fire any department heads. Only the appointed city administrator can do that. There's only one person Mayor Lee can hire or fire, the police chief.
Ring any bells?
And that's when Shang fired the police chief, Lyanne Armstrong, for the simple reason that she's a girl boss, and that's what she wanted to do.
Like, don't waste our time. We have a whole city to run.
She fired. Now, there are a few theories out there, including the leading one that she fired Lyanne Armstrong because he was whistleblowing about the crooked federal oversight and the guy that was making 7 figures to keep Oakland's police in receivership. But I also like this new theory. Shang fired Lyanne Armstrong because he's literally the only person she could fire.
And then she felt like she was doing something.
You know, that's what a mayor do.
Former Mayor Sheng Tao.
Shang, you got a shout out.
There's our girl.
Not a day goes by where I don't wish I could just wave a magic wand and silence the gunfire.
That's when I knew a star was born.
She's like Lady Gaga in the movie.
You may be frightened, and I know how you feel.
Former Mayor Sheng Tao fired Police Chief Lyanne Armstrong in 2023.
The only person she was allowed to fire, she fired.
Because that's what a mayor do.
Oh, and none of the department heads report directly to the mayor. They answer to the city administrator.
So everybody answers to an appointed figure who's not accountable to anyone except the mayor. Who thought this was a good idea?
Jerry Brown is put up on a pedestal like he is some kind of, I don't know, cardinal here in the state of California. This guy screwed so many things up, it's unreal.
Nor does the mayor have veto power.
So let's say the mayor presents her annual budget proposal. Council members can reject it and pass their own budget. And there's nothing the mayor can do to stop them.
In fact, the mayor...
And then what does it say that the council went ahead and passed Shang's crooked budget that was dependent on the sale of the Coliseum that still hasn't happened?
Well, just because they're powerless and just because they don't have the authority that they should have as elected officials doesn't mean they're also not corrupt.
Not just healthy, but we are prosperous in regards to our economic development.
I hope she had a very prosperous summer.
I'm sure she did.
What do you think she does with her days?
Not a whole lot.
Like, has she gotten another job?
Of course not.
So
who would hire her?
So how's she paying her rent?
That's a very good question.
If you have seen Shang Tao out and about and you know what she's up to, please email us. I'm so curious.
I bet you she's back on her rent.
Poor Shangy.
How are
Absolutely
you?
good.
Love to shake your hand.
Yes, it's been amazing.
Wasn't the theory that she was going to work for the group that bought the Coliseum?
Yeah, but that's probably not a good idea right now since she's under indictment.
No.
That deal's already got enough problems.
In fact, the mayor does not attend city council meetings. That's in the charter. There is no place at the table.
LA's like that, too. It's so bizarre.
Did I tell you one of my professors in college was the one that wrote the LA City Charter?
Oh, really?
Yeah, Rafe Sonnenschein.
There is no place at the table for the mayor.
In Oakland, the mayor is effectively removed from making public policy, which is unlike...
It's an elected punching bag.
And yet they line up for it.
Almost every other city in California.
The only way for a mayor to move his or her agenda forward is to work with, you guessed it, the city administrator.
What do you think that guy makes?
Well, it sounds like the city administrator is the most powerful person in the entire town of Oakland.
Yep. And the only person they're accountable to is the mayor, but it's really, really, really strange. Oakland City Administrator salary. No, there's no way. Oh, okay, here we go. The annual salary range for this position, according to governmentjobs.com, City Administrator Oakland, is between $286,000 to $350,000. I think that's more than the mayor.
It sounds like it. Well, doesn't Barbara Ferrer make more than the members of the Board of Supervisors?
Justin Johnson, in 2024, his regular pay was $366,000. He had $17,000 in other pay, plus $114,000 in benefits. Justin Johnson made in 2024, according to Transparent California, $497,000.
And he's doing a crackerjack job.
Everything's broken in the city, and nobody blames him because nobody knows who he is, and he's clearing $500,000 a year.
Well done, Oakland. Well done.
You may think the city administrator, Justin Johnson, holds the power.
Also, Justin, can we just for a second try to understand what that is? Not Justin, Justin.
Wait a minute. It's Jestin?
Yes. That's not a name.
No, it's not.
You may think the city administrator, Justin Johnson, holds the power. But again, he serves at the pleasure of the mayor who can, at any time, fire him.
So nobody's responsible for anything.
This is worst case scenario across the board.
You just walk into a nonstop circle of whose job is it to tell Public Works to pick up all the trash?
So no one can actually tell them what to do.
Yep.
There have been 6 city administrators in the last 5 years.
Okay, I need a minute to digest this. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with more on why the city of Oakland is so dysfunctional. But at this point, I think we all get the picture. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're keeping an eye on the mailbag.
Dana in Hayward writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Guys, don't forget that Oakland lost Starbucks and In-N-Out due to safety concerns for their employees. I worked near the Oakland airport, and we were forbidden by our company to stop at the Chevron or the Starbucks on 53rd due to snatch and grabs. They'd break out your window while you're pumping your gas or in the drive-through line.
Well, didn't Kaiser only have one approved hotel for its employees, and they were given very specific instructions on where they were allowed to go and where they weren't?
Yes, and last summer, Kaiser started hiring security guards to escort their employees to their cars. And remember, they sent out that memo saying, don't go out to lunch.
And Gavin Newsom's official position is crime is going down, and if you were smart enough to understand statistics, you would know that.
Oakland, I love you, but you don't love me.
Oh, I got to read this one, too.
Go for it.
Kevin writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Guys, we all know how Shang is making ends meet. It'll cost you $1.99 for the first minute and 99 cents for each minute thereafter.
That's right. I like that. That was amazing.
Worth every penny. All right, let's go back to the Lyanne Melendez piece on why Oakland is such a basket case.
You may think the city administrator, Justin Johnson, holds the power. But again, he serves at the pleasure of the mayor who can, at any time, fire him.
There have been 6 city administrators in the last 5 years.
You may be asking, how can anything get done in Oakland when that position has been a revolving door?
Well, nothing does.
Totally dysfunctional.
When Jerry Brown was elected, Robert Bobb was already the city administrator and served...
Wait, what's his name?
Robert Bobb?
Bob?
Robert Bobb.
We've had some of the dumbest names ever publicly uttered on the news in the state of California just this week, and it's only Wednesday.
Robert Bobb was already...
Bob, city administrator. You can just call me Bobbert.
What mother does that to a child?
Robert Bobb was already the city administrator and served for a total of 6 years. He says he worked with everyone, not just Jerry Brown.
It does have to happen in working with, with members of city council and also with the council member staff, as it were.
But that was then. Barbara Lee says it's time to ask voters in Oakland whether or not the charter should be reformed.
We need to have good governance, and oftentimes people don't know in the city who is responsible for what. They don't.
By the way, so much of this just sounds like pathetic excuses. Do your damn job. If the city administrator is not organizing the trash pickups, then put him on blast, Barbara.
No, they don't want accountability of any kind. What they want is a structure, a hierarchy that is so muddied no one can tell, so that way no one gets blamed.
We need to have good governance, and oftentimes people don't know in the city who is responsible for what. They don't know what are the details of the charter, and this is going to be specifically around the role of elected officials, financial systems, and also transparency and good government.
Stephen Falk believes that right now, nobody at City Hall really has the power to make effective changes in Oakland.
None of them also have the desire. Let's start with that. Because even with the screwed up chain of command, if you had the burning desire to fix that city, you could move the ball forward. None of them care, though.
The great line that we heard during our research from a council member is that in Oakland, the buck stops nowhere.
Again, that's by design, though. They knew that when they wrote this charter.
How many people, whether they're elected officials, bureaucrats, the mayor, are making six-figure salaries to do nothing because apparently nothing is their responsibility?
And then they all aspire to higher office. Barbara Lee was the congresswoman from Oakland for years, and she wanted to be U.S. Senator before she became mayor. Libby Schaaf, the former mayor of Oakland, wanted to be state treasurer until the billionaire, Eleni Kounalakis, decided she was running for that office and no one's going to be able to compete with her. Jerry Brown went back to being governor.
So, who is going to work on this reform? The mayor has appointed 7 people, experts, who will recommend what changes to the charter are needed. They met for the first time last Friday. Now, the goal is to improve transparency and to find
No. How much do you want to bet the goal is going to be to give the unions what they want?
Well, usually that's what ends up happening.
Find the role of elected and appointed officials. The recommendations of that working group are expected in January. And, of course, after that, they'll take it to the voters and they'll decide on the reform.
I see. I was almost thinking, are you going to say they're going to take it to the city administrator?
If you ever wondered why things are so broken in Oakland when things seem to be making a whole lot more sense across the bay in San Francisco or down in San Jose, Oakland makes no sense.
What do you think the odds are they're actually going to be done with this investigative report by January?
Probably not great. And then they got to explain this to voters and put it on the ballot.
Well, we still don't have the report on what happened with the fires in Pacific Palisades. They're still dragging their feet on that.
We still don't know who melted the 10 freeway.
No, what they do is they say they're going to do something like this. They make a big splashy press conference, and then they just hope that you forget about it, and most of the time we do.
Like at this point, wouldn't it be easier just to take away Oakland cityhood?
Sometimes they do that. They do that with school districts. When school districts are so dysfunctional that they cannot operate, the state will step in and take over.
I mean, that's an easy way to rip up a nonsensical charter. Oakland has failed as a city, and now it gets absorbed into Alameda County till it gets its you-know-what together.
That's not going to be ideal for the people of Oakland because it's not like the county of Alameda doesn't have their problems. But how can you go on like this? Honestly.
I told you, Sheng was right.
The bureaucracy is real.
Who would have guessed? Sheng was right about something.